Boom. We got it. Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever it is that you are. This is Transformation Tuesday. You ready to transform today? Okay. Well, good beans. This is Transformation Tuesday. I'm Judy Matejcek, award-winning life mastery consultant and world-class paradigm shifter. And so we come together as a community dedicated to shift and uplift the whole planet, right? And what better way to do that than, as my buddies say, through movement and music, right? And I am so thrilled for the month of July to have one of my friends with me, my colleague, Lynn Brinckmeyer. We just partied together. Did we get down or what, Lynn?
There was a lot of movement music going on at that time.
Yeah. I know. I'm well, at any rate, let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Lynn Brinckmeyer. Okay. And then we're gonna head into some questions about the being this or something better still. And also we're gonna come in this month with this book, In Tune with the Infinite by Ralph Waldo Trine. So here we go. Dr. Lynn Brinckmeyer recently retired as Distinguished Professor Emerita of Music. She fulfilled the duties of Associate Dean of the College of Fine Arts and Communication and Director of Choral Music Education at Texas State University. During 2006 to 2008, she served as president for the National Association for Music Education. Phew. Now, if that's not enough, other past offices include president of the Northwest Division of MENC, Music Educators Journal Editorial Board, and Washington Music Educators Association General Music Curriculum. And there's on and on and on and on. And I want to focus in on your research initiatives. Is that okay?
Sure.
And your research, because this is where my heart is. In this research initiatives continue to focus on developing young voices. Music from across the globe and music advocacy. So you published 5 books: Wonder, the USA with Warm-Ups, The Wonder of Music with John Jacobson, Rhythm Rescue, Wonder the World with Warm-Ups with Hal Leonard Publishing, and Advocate for Music with Oxford University Press. So, in Washington, she conducted the Eastern Washington University Girls Chorus and the South Hill Children's Chorus. So there's so much more that you've done in your life, but you know, each summer you serve as a longtime staff member for the World Music Drumming Workshops.
Yeah.
Yes, so you've conducted choirs, honors choirs, lectures, presented in 25 countries plus all of the United States, and you serve as a life mastery consultant. So, welcome. We talked the whole hour just with your bio.
Well, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we'll start off with this question I wanted to ask you is, can you describe, an instance where you manifested a goal or desire and what you did to do that? Because we're talking about this or something better. Perhaps when you were visioning it, it turned out even better. But tell us a little bit about yourself and what even got you into music in the first place.
Well, that's sort of the whole question lines up in, I think, in this answer. When I was 16, I got married and started a family. And so at that time was not allowed to finish high school. And I went to night school and also took a GED test. And my goal, I wanted to be a music teacher my whole life. And so even by by the time that I was a young mother, taking care of my kids, doing churches and all those kinds of things, I still had this real strong burning desire. I wanted to be a music teacher. So I decided when my daughter went into second grade and my son went into kindergarten, I'm going to take a 1 credit college class. I didn't think I was smart enough to pass a college class, but I thought I'm just going to take one. Of course, I loved college, and it did take me 7 years to get my degree. And I still walked across that straight stage and got a teaching degree. And so that was, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but every year or every semester or every week, I'd do one thing. So it's that same kind of idea that Mary Morrissey, our mentor, talks about, just baby steps. I never knew if I'd get to be a music teacher, but well, I can do this. I can take this test. I can do this project. I can sign up for one class next semester. And now I'm, a university professor, and I've been watching my own students cross the stage and shake the president's hand, and me up in the stand yelling for them and everything. So that was a journey when I had no idea if it was ever going to happen, and I still kept going towards it. So
Wow. So that burning desire started when you were a child.
yes. When
Ah.
I was, the youngest memory I have is being 4 years old, standing by my cousin who was 8, and she knew how to play the piano. I thought that was fabulous. And so I stood by her every time I'd go see her, which is about once a week. I'd say, "Can we go to the piano?" And she would play the piano, and I'd stand there and sing with her. And that started to just percolate that love of music. And then my first grade music teacher, she was teeny tiny, probably didn't weigh 100 pounds. Mrs. Davison, she was a ball of fire. And I decided I'm going to be her. I wanted to be her from the time I entered first grade, which I guess I was 6 at that time. And I really never changed my mind. I still wanted to be that fireball music teacher.
So, so all the time when you were manifesting, you you kind of didn't know that you were doing it, right?
I did not have any idea. I would just check this off. Pardon me. I don't know how I'll ever do that, but and as Mary has taught us, is I was an unconscious competent, that I just kept plugging away at the things I could do. The stuff I couldn't do, I thought, well, I'll worry about that later. And so that was the path I took. So when I learned more about Mary Morrissey and Brave Thinking Institute, I had a connection. It's like, oh my gosh, I was doing some of that. I was doing some brave thinking when I didn't even know what brave thinking was.
So has there any come, like, what is it in your thinking that has been roadblocks in your thinking? I think what we're talking about this month is mindset. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, I
And
even mentioned that just a little bit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you have more to the
oh
question?
no, that's right. Keep going. This is all yours. Yeah.
When I started that 1 credit class, I hadn't been in school. I was kicked out, and so all of a sudden I was band queen and valedictorian, all these kinds of things, and then boom, I was a high school dropout, and so that idea of who I was completely turned around. So I didn't think I was smart enough to pass a college class. And so that was a mindset, absolutely. But I did it anyway. I thought, well, I can at least take 1 credit. And so yes, and that scarcity thinking of, oh, I can't do this, or I'm too old. I'm older than all the other students going to college because it took me 7 years to get my degree. Everybody else was more high school age and things like that. I had a family at home. Who do you think you are? Going ahead, nobody's going to hire you because they're going to hire the people. Then she's a better singer than I am, and she's only 22. All those kinds of limiting beliefs would be flying around in my head off and on quite a bit when I was a young mother.
Yeah. So then as your career grew and now you help people find their voice. Can you talk about that? Why is that important for you?
I I wanted to, I when I started doing my research with my dissertation, I did a pitch matching dissertation, and I would play music on a trumpet, or I had recordings of music on a trumpet or on a piano or on a violin and a flute, and to see if the kids could sing the pitches back. Kids meaning high school, middle school kids could sing that back. And so many people struggled so much. And I was always able to hear music and sing it back, no matter, growing up. And I wondered why aren't some people able to do this? And I wanted to find out how I could help them, because singing brings me so much joy. And then there became that idea of finding your voice. It's not just the singing voice. It's that, what kind of a human are you? Are you going to help them be the best human possible? Or are you helping them find their voice in all kinds of ways in speaking their truth and just being comfortable in the skin that they're in? So that's kind of evolved off and on through but it started out with the being able to have those uncertain singers be able to sing on pitch and be able to participate in it, because you hear so many times people say, I can't sing. And if you can speak with inflection, you can sing. It might take some effort and it might take some focus, but your physiology is still able to sing. But if we think we can't sing, then we can't. So
Oh, tell me more. Tell me about a student that you've watched grow. Perhaps maybe a one that came in with that attitude, and yeah, how that makes you feel as a teacher and what you do for your why.
well, I'm
Tell
thinking
me.
about a voice student that I had when I was at, pardon me, Eastern New Mexico University, excuse me, Eastern Washington University. And this gentleman, he thought he could sing, and he could sing one pitch really well, and it was very loud. And he was a theater major, and so music theater major, and he was great on stage and all kinds of physiology. He was hilarious. And when he sang, it tended to be kind of this one note. So when I thought, how I'm going to help him be able, because he wanted to audition for a musical. And so, and this note it was a C, and it was really low and it was really loud. So I started finding, what can he do? And so he could sing that note. All right, we've got an A+ in that note. Let's see if you can sing a note higher. Let's go up like two or three notes, not just the next one, because those are too hard. Let's go up a note. And so if he could sing da, then da, maybe he could sing that. And sometimes I said, well, why don't you yell for me? And so I'd find the hold that pitch that you're yelling, and helped him realize, oh my gosh, I can produce those notes. I just didn't call them singing. And then we went, notes, can you go lower? And we started experimenting in every lesson. He finally did audition, and he took a voice lesson to audition on this Italian song called O mio ben, and he got a B+ on his vocal jury. And for me, that was a hallelujah time, because it took an entire year for him to be able to sing a song. And then he was singing in musicals after that. And so that was my first real journey into, oh my gosh, look at what can happen if you really find where the students are and then take them where, expand their, that idea, that paradigm. I'm on the edge of something I don't know, and singing other pitches than that one was unknown to him, and help him realize, yes, you step into that unknown world. It is possible. So that was a really fun thing. That happened a long time ago, but it still stays with me and brings me a lot of joy.
Oh, I think this is great. And with the book, like In Tune with the Infinite, where does the infinite come for you when you're putting yourself out there more and more and more and more? And I've seen you grow like exponentially just in the last couple of years. But how does the infinite, how do you stay in tune with the infinite for
I
you?
I will say, many times. I mean, I certainly do through meditation, and when I'm in a higher vibration of people that are feeling and living on a higher vibration, that I join them. And when I'm on my own, I I get messages through songs. So not all messages, but I do get messages through songs sometimes. And I'll just give you an example. When my brother was dying of cancer, throat cancer, I kept thinking we're going to take him to MD Anderson, we're going to do all these kinds of things. And in the middle of the night, I woke up. I was at a hotel near the hospital when I was with my mom, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I was hearing a requiem. And I knew it was time to let go and just let him pass. As I don't want to get emotional talking about that. And that was my first. So this was about 12 years ago. So this was my first aha, that I was receiving messages through music. And now I'm more aware of that and paying more attention. And so I see, and but also I'll just be, I ask questions and source, but most of the time I'll just hear like this whisper, da 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 da. And I'll go write it down immediately, because if I don't write down that whisper, it's like, I can't remember who it said that the thoughts are like slippery fish, that they'll if you don't gaff them on the edge of a hook. And so I've learned to go write them down. And so I'll tell you a whisper, and it was a whisper. It wasn't a Mack truck hitting me. It was a whisper that I received over the 3 days we were together in California at the training, the Accelerator Live. I heard, focus on serving your clients more, less on how much money you make.
Yep.
And, that's a duh. And I looked at some of my affirmations and I was focusing on, I am creating this and I'm serving clients. So just flipping them, serving clients is the highest priority. And the finances are coming because of that. That was a monumental shift in my thinking. And I've been rewriting my whole vision, and I recorded my vision, and I listen to it every morning. Well, I'm in the process of, I'll record the new one now since that training, because it was just a little over a week ago. I'm still processing things. So that's an aha moment that I had when I was there. And it truly was just a whisper. And it was like, oh, write that down before I forget it. So I'm learning to pay more attention to those whispers and to immediately take action on 'em, which the action was writing it down so that I wouldn't forget it and put it in my notes. So
So you said that you hear messages through music, and the tell me more about that. And there's for me when I'm recording my vision, I put music in the background on the recording, and
beautiful.
there's something about the we talk about frequency and vibrations. There's something there, but tell me more about that. And when you first see a piece of music, how do you select that? You've taught choirs, you've done it all. What's the process about selecting a certain piece of music for a certain group,
I
and
think
what you hope to have them internalize about the music?
that it is a journey, and I think that's where some people may see, oh, this is a really pretty song. I want this group to sing it. That's not necessarily where I go. What is the emotional, physical, spiritual journey that everyone's going to have in a program? Is that first song going to grab them or the audience? Because if the audience is loving it and it's something that the students love to sing, but what is that message saying to them? So I really look, and by now I have a list of repertoire depending on, so I'll just say I'm conducting a children's chorus later on this summer in early fall in Colorado, and looking to make sure that I absolutely have the skill sets that those young kids can sing is the first. What is that group of repertoire that I'll be taking a look at? And then what is going to maybe have one piece that's really high energy, gets them feeling really confident. The first piece is nice and they're going to sing with the full voice. And so they're feeling really confident and they know then maybe the more challenging piece might be the second one. And is that something that's going to really have them be able to feel on the inside? So I'll just tell you that, but I had the privilege of conducting a singabration choir, which was 150 fourth graders this last February here at the Buddy Holly Center. And it was an absolute blast. And so one of the pieces we sang was by a composer that I happen to know. And it was a slow, beautiful piece. And I had them sing it for the composer. So, and then they talked to him about what the parts of the music that they liked. And it was like, they get to sing for a composer who's alive, not one who's dead. And because there's that idea sometimes of classical music or that type of music. So seeing them feel, and we talk about what do these words mean? How does it, well, this word means to me, or what's one word you think of, so that your face is going to share the music before you ever start singing. And so we have conversations with the students, even fourth graders or littler, that smaller than that, so that they have, this music has to mean something to them. For the otherwise, it's just automatic ma 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 ma, and the parents will think it's wonderful, but I know when they sing with passion that it's going to take it for them to a whole new level. And it was so much fun after we talked to the composer. I took it off FaceTime and I said, okay, so what do we do right? There were just hands going up everywhere. We did this and we did this and we did this. And so that was so gratifying to see. That didn't really answer your question, but I find pieces that, how does it speak to their soul? How do they flow? There's also the things like if you're singing a piece in F major, or if you're or E major or something like that, you don't want to sing the next piece in E minor, because those things, for the people that are musicians, understand I'm going to find a key structure that's a little bit further away, because otherwise they might go back to the first key that they sang. I mean, there's all those kinds of things. And can the children sing with a healthy, beautiful tone? Everything that in all the notes. It doesn't mean that they can't go high or can't go low, but they don't stay there. And is it nice, strong, full voice when they're singing high pitchers or something like that? That text has to mean something to them. Even if it's a text of another language, then what is the translation? What does this mean to you?
I love that. The text has to mean something to me. And I think that's also when we're talking about, this or something greater still, sometimes, at least from my perspective, I'll come up with a vision at one point in my life, and it meant something there, and then it becomes rote, and then I just kind of blah, 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 blah. And then I'll go, oh, it doesn't mean anything to me because I'm in a different season of my life.
Yes.
And I love that you said that and brought that up because I think with that, this or something better still, we're opening up to the infinite to say, hey, I'm still growing. Let's keep it going.
Absolutely. And I love going back. I don't know if you do this or not, but I love going back and looking at my visions when I first, because I started with Brave Thinking Institute in 2020. Now I had goals and things written before then, but I didn't have an actual vision. And going back and seeing the vision, pardon me, that I had at 2020 is lovely to see so many of the things have come into fruition. And there's still some things that are still on my vision, that are still out there. And but it's wonderful to see, oh, wow, that was really important to me then. And I've migrated into another, because I'm a different human than I was at that time. And so it's beautiful to look back at that and see the growth. I'll do that about once a year, kind of go back and wonder what I envisioned back then. And as we talked about in this vision that I'm still working on and expanding based on some of the conversations that we had and some of the teaching we had there in California recently, I I have things that are in the recording that I have right now as I'm hearing it thinking, hmm, yeah, I'm changing that to something, but I'm already knowing that it's time for that recording to go in the archives and then put some new information in this. So that's my plan for the 4th of July weekend is to record my new vision with the upgrade that I received. It's like new software that I received when we were in California.
Great. There you go. I love it. So there's another question, and then that I want to ask too, because in your bio, you're talking about global and the cultures, the music of the different cultures. Um, One of my good buddies who's going to come on next week is she would take go music educator, right, here in Austin, and the kids did not want to learn the regular old tunes, folk tunes. They were all not their culture. So
Mhm.
she would be bringing in the music of their culture from their parents and grandparents and teaching, the kids that, which totally uplifted the whole community. So I think what the question is, how important is it for the music of the cultures to continue going?
Oh my gosh, I mean, all of the history that's part of who we are. I mean, music is in every culture as far as I'm aware of. I've studied a lot of it. I certainly don't know about every single culture in the United States or else in other countries. Music is that historical journey because we know what has happened. I mean, just even if we take a look at the slave songs and those kinds of things, that's what was going on in our world here in the United States at that time. And so they're a documentation of some of the journey. And I will just say for one of the things that I found, especially when you work with a school that has a lot of diverse students in it, which come from multiple places, and honoring them all and having at least sometime through the year when we do sing like if we were going to sing a Jewish song or something that Israeli, I would say, do you know anyone who speaks Hebrew? And if there were any students, well, and we had uncle come in and speak Hebrew for us, so that that child could, this is my uncle, and so that we could perfect our Hebrew and make sure that we're saying it correctly. And that was before Zoom when I was doing this, but now we could actually Zoom put someone in and finding out. And so whenever we would do any songs, living in Central South Texas, most of the students have that Hispanic accent down really well. So usually Latin songs are very easily. Still, rather than me telling the students how to pronounce the Spanish words, or I would say, who speaks Spanish and has spoken it from, time you're born, come on up here. You're going to lead us and tell us how to sing these songs. tell us what to say. So they would be the leader. And it was just because they're more authentic. And you know, I have a pretty good Spanish accent, but I do, you know, I don't speak fluent Spanish. And having them lead that. And then also we had a student one time who was from the Philippines, and she could, you know, oh, look, I'm going to do a Filipino, so, you know, something from the Philippines if I can. Finding ways that the people that I'm working with have a buy-in and they get to shine and be the expert and allowing that. So I don't know if I went off on a tangent or something, but that's that their culture was so, in my perspective, valid. And I'll just add one more thing because it's coming in I'm hearing a whisper, so I want to share this. When I started getting really involved with multicultural music is before I actually traveled overseas. And when I took a trip to South Africa, I will say that that trip changed my life probably more than any other trip that ever has, because I learned, you know, we visited so many of the townships and things like that. There were 100,000 people, and this was not a township with electricity or running water or any of those kinds of things. And every house, if you want to call them, was made out of whatever bricks or cedar blocks or pieces of wood or cardboard that they had found on the side of the road or that was just thrown in the trash. These were communities of people, and they didn't have what I have. I mean, I would be considered a millionaire if they walked into my house and what they lived. So I decided when I was there, I was never ever going to say I have to go to the grocery store again, because I get to go to a grocery store and learning things from these joyous kids singing their hearts out, that they found so much joy in just being able to perform for some Americans that went to see and learn about them. That was a huge deal to them. So that truly changed my life. I mean, there were so many other experiences, but those are, so when I have been to a country that we're singing music by, I show them pictures of me there or show them pictures of the people I met and tell them these stories so that they, you know, people are people all across the world, and we want a better life for our kids and our grandparents. We want them to be happy and healthy and safe and all these things. And just and people to people, Eisenhower started that experience many years ago traveling, because he said if you sit at a table and have dinner with them, you don't want to bomb them. And so that I thought that was such a beauty, and that's how I got started through my international trips, was people to people. So that's showing that we're all human beings everywhere. Just because we wear different colors of clothes or we speak a different language, we're still human beings. And that was my goal in sharing world music, is that we can see that we're all the same in so many ways. There's differences, absolutely. We're all the same at the core, all across the globe. So.
Oh, wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What a great way to start July with that idea that, oh, okay, and it's this or something better still. We never know. So I want to have you imagine that you're driving down the highway and there's a billboard up there with your picture on it. And all these thousands of cars are going by it and everything. What would that billboard say? Like in a little message with your picture on it that you would just love? What's your message that you would love to give out to the world?
Well, I had never thought of anything like that, but something just popped into my mind. Again, I've been talking about whispers. Create and sustain change, love your life.
Yeah,
That's what just came in.
definitely. Oh,
Whew. Now I'm getting emotional on this.
that's great. It's so important. We each have a message. And what if our voice came out? Could be a whisper. We all have impact. Wow. Thank you so much for all that you do and all that you are doing now. And I so appreciate this time that you took. What can we hold for you now for your next adventure? What would you love to have us hold for you?
my my space that I would love to be hold it to have you hold for me is that I have the opportunity to share some of these brave thinking principles with more and more people in this new community that I live in, because I've lived here in the Lubbock area a little bit less than 2 years now after releasing Texas State, and being able to share I would love more opportunities for speaking opportunities so that I can help people learn about these. And whether if it resonates with them or not is their choice, but just to be able to have more and more opportunities to speak in person to help individuals have an opportunity to choose if this is the right way and right path for them. And if it is, I would love to serve them.
There you go. All right. Well, so we're going to send energy out to Lubbock.
And
So,
beyond.
you know what's so funny? When I was in California, the Uber driver taking me back to the airport had never been to Texas, and he says, "I'm going to Lubbock, Texas, in August for
Lubach,
a wedding." I'm like, okay.
love it. I love it here. It's awesome. So I
Oh,
love
to Lubbock.
it. The people are wonderful. It's beautiful. I'm loving it.
Oh, it is. It is, and it's a culture right there in its own,
Oh,
right? Yeah.
and the arts culture is huge here. So I mean, I'm in my element. Absolutely. It's really wonderful. So
Yes. Isn't that where Buddy Holiday? Wait a minute.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that museum. Well, so here we go. We're gonna send some energy all the way out to you. This and something better still. How's that?
Um, Beautiful. Thank you so much, Judy. It's been awesome to be able to talk to you. Thank you.
Amen. 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 Okay.